Hello, 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 hello. Hopefully you can see me and hear me in both of the microphones. Maybe not. Maybe not. 0 viewers. I don't know if
0 viewers.
No, maybe I am.
I don't know if 0 viewers.
Oh, hi Leah. Hi Leah. Okay. So it's not updating how many people are watching, which is fine, but clearly it is working, so that's awesome. Hi Michael. Hello. Okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna give it a minute in case anybody decides to filter in, but this month we are talking about the Song of Achilles. Also, I have a cat on my lap right now, so you might be able to hear his purring. Let me know if that is disturbing to you, because I can relocate him and he won't mind, so just let me know, okay? Just let me know if his purring is disturbing at all to you. He's a very good boy. He had a vet appointment today, and I actually had to give him a bath afterwards. Yes, he's very sweet. I wish I could show him to you, but I think if I bring him up, he will get upset with me. He's very sweet. Okay. So, I think we are a very small group this month, which is totally fine. Oh, good. Okay, thank you, Leah. So I think we're a very small group this month, which is totally fine. Maybe more people will join. Maybe not. He was actually terrified in the bath. For those of you that are joining, I'm just talking about my cat for a moment. He was terrified in the bath, but he was very nice afterwards, surprisingly. Very, very sweet. So, camera's here, but the chat is over here, as usual. So, if I'm looking off to the side, that's why. And you should be able to hear me in both microphones today. So hopefully that is working just fine. So, Song of Achilles. I'm just going to read the cover of the book to you, though hopefully you read it, and then we can talk about it. So it says, Achilles, the best of all Greeks, son of the cruel sea goddess Thetis and the legendary king Peleus, is strong, swift, and beautiful, irresistible to all who meet him. Patroclus is an awkward young prince, exiled from his homeland after an act of shocking violence. Brought together by chance, they forge an inseparable bond, despite risking the god's wrath. They are trained by the centaur Chiron in the arts of war and medicine. But then word comes that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped. All the heroes of Greece are called upon to lay siege to Troy in her name. Seduced by the promise of glorious destiny, Achilles joins their cause, and torn by love and fear for his friend, Patroclus follows. Little do they know that the cruel fates will test them both as never before, and demand a terrible sacrifice. Okay. Though I think that synopsis is a little bit inaccurate, but we can talk about that. Thank you, Kent. Yeah, I don't think I can translate from cat to human. For those of you that joined after I made the announcement, my cat is on my lap right now, and if the sound is bothering you at all, please tell me, and I can relocate him and he'll be fine with that. So just let me know if his purring is bothering you, because it is very loud. He has a loud purr. Oh my gosh. Yes, Leah. So first of all, I want to ask who cried after finishing the book? because, oh my gosh, I was so upset. My cat's name is Tyrion. So who cried after finishing the book? Because I did. And I actually didn't cry right away. I was just kind of numb. And then the next day, I was just like sitting on the couch eating lunch, and I just started sobbing. It was so sad. Like, I like the ending. I liked it a lot, but it was just so sad. So yeah, Leah cried, and I cried. And I don't know if anybody else did, but it was, yeah, a very emotional book. And, so, first of all, I would rate it, 5 out of 5. Like, honestly, one of the best books I have ever read, and definitely the best book I've read in a very long time. I loved it. I just thought it was fantastic. So Kent says, I think it was very well done about the loss, and I felt sad that they had to leave the world this way. I totally agree. And Leah said the ending definitely was unexpected for me. Not the death, of course, but the way she wrote it. And I agree with both of those statements. I thought, well, I was curious how she would do it, because Patroclus is the narrator, and I knew, obviously, that Patroclus was going to die before Achilles. So I wondered if it would stop there, or if the narration would switch, or how we would see the rest of it play out. And I think her deciding to continue in Patroclus's voice after he died, and like being stuck there, it was very heart-wrenching, but a really, really good choice for the narration. And it just kind of, it broke my heart, because I loved Patroclus, and I loved Achilles, and I just thought they were so perfect together. And I just think it can be hard to do like a perfect character without them being just like overwritten, or I don't know, just sort of cheap, like that sort of Mary Sue character. But I think Achilles was just so likable, and I do like that he kind of shifted at the end and became a little bit prideful, because through his whole life he was just so, I don't know, just kind and really just perfect. And I agree, Leah, they had incredible chemistry, and they were very, very different, and that was part of what I loved so much about it, just that Achilles was just such a warrior and so loved and revered and just perfect, and Patroclus, especially from his own point of view, was so, I don't know, just like more docile, more quiet, seemed to be more introverted, didn't fight, and it was funny because from Patroclus's narration, he just made it seem like he himself was so unattractive next to Achilles' perfection, and how Achilles was just perfectly handsome and Patroclus was just not. But I think that's one part of Patroclus's unreliability, because he saw himself a certain way, and it didn't seem to be reflective of the way people around him viewed him, especially as the book progressed. And that's one of the questions I actually want to talk about. And I can skip right to that one. Where is it? Patroclus is often a self-critical narrator. Consider how the other characters in the novel regard him. Do they see him in the same way he sees himself? And I thought that was a really interesting question, because Patroclus really sees himself as inferior to everybody around him, and it seems like he can't understand why Achilles, in all of his perfection, would ever want to be with him and all of this. But sorry for the car noises. But Patroclus seems to be just a wonderful person, and like Briseis said, best of Greeks, best of Myrmidon. Like, he just seemed like a very good person, and people around him really respected him, especially for his medical work toward the end and stuff. So I think a lot of Patroclus's view of himself was really skewed, especially by how his father treated him when he was younger. He just kind of thought he was inferior when he really wasn't. Going back to the chat, Leah says, I love that she chose to tell it from Patroclus' point of view, because I think we can all relate to Patroclus and not so much Achilles. I absolutely agree with that. Like, who can relate to perfection that Achilles is supposed to be? But I think we can all relate to Patroclus and his, like, self-doubts and everything he feels. Oh, sorry, knocked the microphone. So I really agree. I loved being in, like, Patroclus's point of view and just seeing his love for Achilles play out and stuff. Hi, Peter. So I thought that was really nice. One part of a story that I thought about afterwards, that wasn't at the end, but I think right before they took off for Troy, that I thought about afterwards and just, like, made me cry, was when they were sitting in the forest and there was, like, a venomous snake, and Achilles just grabbed it and killed it, and Patroclus said, he either said, I didn't even hear it, or I didn't even see it. I think it was, I didn't even hear it. And Achilles said, you didn't have to. I heard it for you. So, I don't know. I just thought that was so sweet and sad, because Achilles just basically telling him that, like, he would protect him. And I love that aspect of it, that Achilles protected Patroclus so much, and I just love that part of it. But I know, Leah, right? It's just like, oh my god, this book. Kent says, like Achilles, I don't think anyone should be landlocked into a certain fate. I don't think Achilles' mother was being fair in her predictions, and maybe it might have been more resentful. Yeah, I can see that, Kent. I think definitely through the whole thing I had a problem with how Thetis, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing all the names, of how Thetis, Achilles' mother, treated Patroclus and treated their relationship. As far as the predictions, I think she was just as upset as, gosh, I keep knocking the microphone, what terrible ASMR. I think she was just as upset because she didn't want him to die either. She really did love Achilles and want the best for him. Just didn't think Patroclus was that. Leah says, I agree, Kent. I think she was relatable too, though. I'm not a mother, but my mother would have done the same thing. Tried to lie, protect me at all costs, even if it meant I wouldn't have lived up to my potential. Yeah, I agree with that. I do like that she kind of tried to protect him, but I agree as well with your next statement that, like, how could you not like someone that loves your son so much and really would do anything for your son? I mean, Patroclus was so devoted to Achilles, and Achilles was clearly very devoted to Patroclus, and it was just pretty awful that his mother couldn't see that or respect it. But yeah, I just, at the end, Thetis she redeemed herself, but it was kind of tough through the whole thing to see how awful she was about their relationship. And going back to something that the little synopsis said at the beginning, I think it was kind of interesting how the synopsis said Patroclus followed Achilles when he chose to go to war, when really Patroclus kind of had to go, and Achilles went partially because Patroclus had to go, but partially because, like, he knew if he didn't fight, like, that would be the end of his power. He would just kind of fade into obscurity and lose all of his skill. But also, they came calling on Patroclus and Achilles because Patroclus had entered into that oath when he was a child. So, they were both kind of trapped into going to Troy, regardless. Yeah, because of the pact all the suitors made. So they kind of twisted that in the synopsis. Yeah, if you read it a while, I totally understand. I kind of forget books almost right away. So, yeah, for those of you that don't quite remember, when Patroclus was a child, with his father, he went to be a suitor of Helen of Troy, and all of the suitors were forced to make a pact, make an oath that they would support whoever Helen chose as her husband and would defend them. So when Helen was stolen, they called upon everybody that made the pact and called upon them all to go fight. So that's kind of how Patroclus was forced into it, but he would have gone for Achilles anyway because he loved him. But yeah, so how did you guys feel about Odysseus? Because he annoyed the hell out of me for almost the whole thing. He's just so freaking cunning and kind of manipulative and just smarter than everybody, and he pissed me off. So, yeah, I wonder how you felt about Odysseus in the novel. Hi, Joe. Thank you for coming. You made it. If you just tuned in, I was asking how people felt about Odysseus. Yeah, of Odysseus, yeah. And I read the Odyssey a very long time ago. Like, 14 years ago, so it's very fuzzy, but Odysseus in this drove me crazy. I want to read Circe. I haven't yet. But yeah, Odysseus wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't a bad guy by any means, but he was just so, I don't know, manipulative and cunning and too smart for my own good, or for his own good. I didn't like that he was kind of able to force Patroclus and Achilles into anything, and how he, whether intentionally or not, kind of made a little comment about their relationship. And I don't think it was malicious at all, but it kind of made them a little bit uncomfortable, I guess, very briefly. But I was just like, oh, shut up. Yeah, so Odysseus kind of annoyed me, but he wasn't bad, and I do like at the end how he's in the book. And he's the secondary character, but he plays a pretty big role. It was hard to like, but hard to truly hate, because he was not wrong in his haughtiness. I mean, he's so smart, but he bugs me. Yeah, exactly. Like, you definitely respect him, and you know he's like smart and very cunning, but it's just, he's annoying. But I do like at the end how he does try to convince Achilles' son to put Patroclus' name on the tomb. So he definitely wasn't a bad guy. Is that Achilles had a child with another woman and they rejected because of his relationship with Patroclus. And Patroclus almost took away one of the conquered women. Both had backlove with women. Yeah. I don't... Neither of them really wanted to have luck with women, I don't think. I thought especially Achilles had just no need for women whatsoever. Like, he didn't even talk to Briseis. Whereas Patroclus did form relationships, and I do think Patroclus could have potentially been with a woman. He seemed more fluid in that way, if he were not so in love with Achilles. It's just he had eyes for nobody else. But I do think he loved Briseis. But Achilles really had no interest in women, which I thought was really kind of awesome, because he was so sought after by everyone, not just by women, but he really just, like, Patroclus was it. Like, from the moment he saw him, he was the only one, and I loved that. I wonder if Patroclus and Achilles could have kept their relationship but still had a relationship with these women. I think they would have had to go beyond society's expectations. I think they could have, Kent, but I don't think either of them wanted to, just because they loved each other so much. And Achilles just no interest. Patroclus, he loved Achilles. Leah says, I got the sense that Patroclus was bisexual, pansexual, just a loving soul, but Achilles was very much no. Exactly, yeah. Yep. And Patroclus, he had such a good heart. He didn't want to see anybody hurting or anything, and he really cared about everyone. And Achilles he cared about people, but really he cared about Patroclus. And I just thought that was interesting throughout the whole book. Like, all the boys really wanted to be close to Achilles, and he was friendly with them, but showed really no interest in anyone until Patroclus came along. And, yeah. I did think it was strange. I did think it was strange that Ionis says Odysseus is us, a man who remained unnamed before he could pass through the Cyclops, blind him, and get away. Then he had his identity form against his comrades and named to be remembered. Greetings from a Greek party. Thank you, that's really interesting. I thought it was really interesting that Patroclus slept with Achilles' wife, Diademia, I think was her name. I was not expecting that, but I think it's kind of funny because I wonder why he did that, really. I think it was probably because she was so sad, and she wanted him to, and I think he kind of wanted to. First of all, like, he felt bad for her, and then also I think he kind of wanted to experience what Achilles had experienced. So that's my thought on that. I don't know. I wonder what your thoughts are on that he slept with her. And I mean, I feel like I don't think it was malicious at all. I really think it was more like just feeling bad for her, and also another sort of way of connecting with Achilles. Was that in the original myth? Leah, are you referencing him sleeping with Diademia? Because I'm not sure. I know it was in the book, but I don't know a lot about well written. It really showed us the depth of Patroclus's character. I agree. And at first I was like, what are you doing? But actually, I really, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it because I think it did show us something about Patroclus, just that he can't see somebody in pain without doing something about it. And I also think, like, it was another way of him trying to understand Achilles and be closer to Achilles. And yeah. But I thought it was kind of strange at first when it happened. Oh my goodness. You know who I really hated in the book? Kent says, I see that honor, reputation, and image was worth more than heart, currency, or one's own life. If any of these things were warranted, it seemed to be a certain death. Yeah, especially for Achilles, like, his reputation and his honor, that was, like, the most important thing to him. I think next to Patroclus, I think that Patroclus did win out, but, like, his reputation definitely was, like, the most important, and just being Aristus Achaeon, or however you say it, like, best of Greeks, and, having that recognition, and that, yeah, but also for Patroclus, like, you didn't want to dishonor yourself or your family or anything. Oh, hello, cat. So that was, like, a big part of the book. But before you said that, I was saying who I really couldn't stand, and of course that's Achilles' son. Holy cow, that kid was awful. He was a nightmare. And I really, I used to know more about the Greek mythology, but it's been a long time, so I didn't even remember anything about Achilles' son, but he was awful, wasn't he? Gosh. Just came right in and refused to acknowledge Patroclus on the tomb, and then tried to rape Briseis and killed her. It was just, it's like he undid everything good that his father had done. Joffrey flashbacks. Yes. Yeah, that's really good. Funny. I didn't think of that while I was reading it, but definitely a Game of Thrones Joffrey type of character. Yeah. But man, he was a little nightmare. And I think that's definitely attributed to how Thetis raised him. Just no regard for others, thinking he is just the best and nobody else matters. Nobody else's wants or feelings matter. It's just him, and he can have whatever he wants, which is just, it's so poetically beautiful that he just dies off screen because of it. And after that, he is a spoiled brat and had no honor, really had no life experience to show for himself. He had nothing that was really his own. Absolutely. He just kind of had this inflated sense of importance in self because of how he was raised by Thetis. And that got him killed. I don't know why I had to do that evil smile, but he was just terrible. And I'm glad that he was punished for it. But, I just thought that was kind of a beautiful scene, how Thetis was at Achilles' tomb, and Patroclus basically asked her why she isn't watching over Achilles' son, and she told him about the death and stuff. And I think her being at Achilles' tomb afterwards really shows kind of how she understood then how Achilles was so much better than his son because of his kindness and his humanity and stuff. And I love that she then wanted to hear more about it, and Patroclus really told her. He told her all the stories, and that really changed her opinion of their relationship. It's no coincidence that Homer left out of the Iliad the narration of the death of Achilles, such an omission from the point of view of dramatic economy. Yeah, I didn't read the Iliad, I only read the Odyssey, so maybe someday I'll get around to that. I just wanted to read a quote from the book that was super touching. From when Patroclus starts recounting all of his memories of Achilles to Thetis. And I think first of all he says he's made of memory, which is beautiful. But it says, I conjure the boy I knew, Achilles, grinning as the figs blur in his hands, his green eyes laughing into mine. Catch, he says. Achilles outlined against the sky, hanging from a branch over the river, the thick warmth of his sleepy breath against my ear. If you have to go, I will go with you. My fears forgotten in the golden harbor of his arms. The memories come and come. She listens, staring into the grain of stone. We are all there, goddess and mortal, and the boy who was both. That's one of my favorite quotes from the book that I thought was just so beautiful. Just him recounting his memories of Achilles. From the beginning, and telling Thetis all about him. I know, right? I know, Leah. Yeah. I don't know, I'm probably aging myself with this, but there's a song by Death Cab for Cutie, and I think it's called I Will Follow You Into the Dark. And their relationship reminds me of that song a little bit. I won't play it for you, but let me just read a lyric. Leah says yes. It's love of mine, someday you will die, but I'll be close behind and I'll follow you into the dark. No blinding light or tunnels to gates of white, just our hands clasped so tight, waiting for the hint of a spark. So, just that line alone is super, just reminiscent of their situation, how sort of Achilles follows Patroclus into death, and then Patroclus eventually is able to join him in the underworld, and then the end of the book even ends with them clasping hands. And that, let me see if I can find that quote too, because that's so beautiful. Looking for that. I should have my Kindle with me, but I don't. Maybe I can pull it up on my phone really quickly on my Kindle app. Because that last line is really sweet. Where is it? Goodness. There it is. Oh, heartbreaking. So I'll start a little bit before the last line. She does not answer me for a long time, talking about Thetis. Only sits, eyes shining with the last of the dying light. I have done it, she says. At first I do not understand, but then I see the tomb and the mark she has made on the stone. Achilles, it reads, and beside it, Patroclus. Go, she says, he waits for you. In In the darkness, two shadows, reaching through the hopeless heavy dusk, their hands meet, and light spills in a flood like 100 golden urns pouring out the sun. And now I'm like tearing up. I just love that ending, that they were able to be together. And honestly, I think I would have hated the book if they couldn't have been together at the end. Good night, Peter, if you're still here. Leah, I'm so glad you're here. That this affected you the way it affected me, because like, oh my god. She was a wonderful writer, and I'm actually wanted to ask you guys' opinion. I'm thinking of taking July off for book club just because we didn't choose a book yet, and I know some people like to try to get it at the library, so I'm thinking of taking July off and then picking back up in August with Circe. So I don't know, maybe I'll make a poll about that, but if anybody has an opinion now, then you can let me know what you think. You should have seen me. I just finished a set of squats at the gym and I just popped down and started crying. Oh my god, you poor thing. That's so funny. Yeah, I was up at the, we have tennis courts near us with some nice little seating and stuff, so I was up there while my husband was playing, and it was really nice out, so I was reading the end of the book, and when I finished, I just sat there like totally numb. And like, just to decompress from the whole thing, I had to tell my husband basically like step by step all of the details in the book because I needed to share my pain. So maybe we'll take July off and come back in August with Circe. I'll put a poll up to see what people think who might not have been able to join us today, because we have a very small group today. So yeah, I thought it was a great book. Very sad. But I loved it. I really I just loved their relationship. Another thing that I really liked was when Patroclus had to go and fight for the first time when everybody was called to battle in Troy. Hi, baby boy. Hi, so sweet. Talking to a cat. And Patroclus had to go and join the fight. And he was really nervous, and Achilles just like, stay behind me. As he always protects him. But Patroclus is kind of like in a daze all day, and it took him most of the day to realize that nobody has even gotten within like 20 feet of him. He's just been in a barren circle with nobody around him all day. And that's because as soon as Achilles saw anybody even look at him, he just immediately killed them so that they couldn't get anywhere near Patroclus. And he was doing this while fighting multiple men at a time. So I just thought that was really interesting, like how he is such a warrior that he was able to like fight all of these men and keep an eye on Patroclus the whole time and make sure that nobody even got near him. That part was really interesting. Hawk, I'm bad I haven't finished the book yet. I also don't mind spoilers, and this is motivating me to finish reading it. Okay. It's beautiful, and definitely finish it. I'm glad you don't mind spoilers, because I've pretty much given away everything about the ending. The book impacted me more than I thought it would. I've always struggled with confidence in seeing the story from Patroclus' point of view. really made me see that you don't have to fit the typical standard of beauty, talent, ability, whatever, to make someone else's life better and to be someone who can add value. Exactly. And also, like, that he had all of these flaws, I guess, and that Achilles loved him because of that, because he was different. And also that he probably wasn't anywhere near as, like, unattractive or inferior as he thought he was, because nobody else saw him that way. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting message. Kent says that'll be fine for August. For July, could you do an ASMR that at the end would allow us 4 different outcomes? In other words, like a Clue movie that had 4 different endings. Oh, maybe I can see about trying to do something like that, Kent. I think it might be fun to do like I've wanted to do a choose your own adventure type ASMR, and I think that might be fun to do in a live setting. So let me see if that's something that I can try to plan as a live stream, and then we can go with like what the majority chooses in it, and then also go back and try different routes to see what happens. I'd have to write it and everything, so I'll do my best. I'm trying to do 2 videos a week with work and everything, so I'll see what I can do for that, because I'd like to do it. And Kent says, goodbye, cat. I think Patroclus replacing Achilles might have shown how he was able to save Achilles' reputation and honor. I think Achilles' reputation was worth other people's lives. Yeah, I think that was a huge thing that Patroclus did for everyone. Really saved a lot of lives and saved Achilles' reputation, because Achilles kind of was being very stubborn, and I think that was going to hurt his I think that was going to really hurt his reputation, because he was refusing to yield and too many people were dying. So yeah, Patroclus made a big difference there. So he really, I don't know, they did so much for each other. I'd like to see a live stream doing the ASMR Picker Adventure. And wait, we're doing Cersei next, right? I think we're doing Cersei, Leah. I'll put out a poll and see if there's interest in it, because I'd really like to read it. So I think it will be Cersei for August. But I'll be more sure of that in the next week or so. An interesting point for me is where Patroclus comes to Achilles' dream and asks him to stop fighting and bury him. He's torn in two, one by light and by the darkness of Hades. Oh, yeah, that's really sad. And I thought, like, when Patroclus was buried or burned, I thought then that he would be able to move on, but I guess because his ashes weren't interred and then he wasn't recognized on the tomb for quite a while, he still wasn't able to move on. Yeah, I definitely could see that. I think Patroclus was in a tough place because he knew Achilles inside and out and knew how much his pride meant to him, but Patroclus also couldn't stay. Exactly. Yeah, because Patroclus really did everything he could to try to convince Achilles to fight, to save all of the men. And then also, save Achilles, because Achilles was kind of throwing away his reputation and didn't quite realize the impact it was having. So that was a very brave and selfless act that Achilles made. I also thought it was really kind of sad when Achilles was dressing Patroclus in his armor, like Patroclus had always done for Achilles, and then how Achilles reminded him, it won't be like the other times when I was there, because he had always been there to protect Patroclus. So that was really sad to me. I also had, there was one part of the whole book that I was kind of like not in love with, and that was when Patroclus was kind of in like a fervor after having killed like Achilles, and when he tried to climb the walls of Troy. And I don't know if that was just because he was so like just whipped up into a fervor and not thinking straight. It also, I feel like, might have been because the gods were kind of manipulating him a little bit. I'm not sure, but it just seemed so out of character for him to take that risk and just try to climb the walls of Troy and end the war. And best of intentions, but it seemed a little bit strange to me. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that. But I didn't mind it so much, because I can chalk it up to him just kind of being in a frenzy after everything that had happened and maybe not quite thinking straight. Because he'd never really intentionally killed before. Leah says I kind of liked that. I felt it was a bit of gods manipulating him. I also felt it like it was his first taste of being what he had always secretly wanted to be. That's a really good point, Leah. I think you're right about that. Just because he had always seen himself as inferior, and finally he was being like the other men and just fighting, and he just felt so powerful in that moment, I think, and maybe just a little bit, I don't know, in a frenzy because of that, and just felt invincible almost, maybe. He was the victor on his own, yeah, and he had never really been under his own power like that before, you know. He always kind of was willingly in Achilles' shadow and being protected by Achilles and happy to be in that role. But I think doing that, the fighting and everything, made him feel more, I don't know, just powerful, and you know, I believe manipulation was a means of boosting someone else's power. How much power and honor and reputation that someone got through manipulating through greed to see him more. Yeah. It was kind of funny because at first when he was like felt himself like throwing the spear like Achilles, and like how he was suddenly able to do all of this fighting that he had never done before, I kind of wondered if Thetis had a role in that, and was sort of helping him because she knew that he was doing this for Achilles. But I don't think she was. But at first I was like, oh, is she actually helping him? No. I'd argue he never felt inferior. Remember, the context is simply that he hadn't been able until then to overcome himself and prove his value to gods and ancestors. That's a really good point too. It's possible. I totally agree that he really never had the chance to prove himself, and that he'd kind of always needed that. The only reason why I say I think he felt inferior is because of how he describes himself throughout the book. I think a lot of the time he really describes himself as like he's weak and he's ugly and just like somebody who doesn't fit in and isn't liked and stuff. So I do think he kind of looked down on himself a little bit because of that, but so I don't think he was inferior in any way. That's why I kind of thought he felt like he was. But overall, I really liked it. gods have the same inferiority complex as mortals? I don't think so. I think the gods all I don't think they thought they were inferior at all. It's so funny hearing about their Greek gods and just how terrible they were to mortals. I wonder if he was confident in himself on his own, but if he just thought everyone else saw him as inferior. Yeah, that's a good point too. I think he definitely had confidence in some of his abilities, especially when Achilles, with how Achilles felt about him, and how confident he was in his medicine, like doing the thing with the arrow and stuff. Kent said, "Do the gods exaggerate human frailties and emotions?" Absolutely. Yeah, definitely can. I think so. Especially with Patroclus, I think at the end we see that exactly because, gosh, who was it that flicked him off the wall? Oh, I can't remember, but one of the god that flicked him off the wall really took advantage. At a deep level, he might have been confident in who he was, but he knew he was viewed as inferior by others and didn't like that they never gave him a chance. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yes. So, yeah, I've pretty much said what I have to say. Description is merely said as such, so as not to provoke me. Yeah. Oh, hello. No. Okay. Yes, you're a good boy. I'm sure everybody needed to see you. Yes. Everybody needed to see you. You said hi. Yeah. That's Tyrion. He's a very good boy. Yes. Yes, he's a very good boy. He's gonna get treats after this because he had a rough day at the vet for his teeth cleaning, and then he had to have a bath, and he's never had a bath before, and that was so scary for him. So I'm gonna give him some treats after this, and I'm gonna eat some dinner because I'm hungry. It's almost 6:30 here, and I'm gonna be dog sitting soon, so I'm excited for that. Does anybody have any final thoughts they would like to share about the book? And Leah, I'm curious, did you prefer Circe or did you prefer the Song of Achilles? Which one do you like more? Because if Circe is better than Song of Achilles, I don't know if I can take it. This was so good. If you get the chance, you should read Taylor Jenkins Reid's books if you like to cry over books. I'll look them up. Yeah, I'd be interested in that. It's funny because I haven't read a book with this sort of emotional value in a very long time. I have mostly been reading like mystery thrillers, but I enjoyed this so much that I think I'm gonna change my genre for a while and read more like emotionally compelling books. So I'll check out Taylor Jenkins Reid. Let me look that up right now so I can. This new book I've read twice and I discovered new things. You liked it, Ken? I assume if you read it twice. I'm not sure, they were very different. Circe and Patroclus were actually very similar, but the storylines are different. But I think Song of Achilles hit me harder. I'm okay with that. I don't need to be hit as hard as I was by Song of Achilles because it actually made me think a lot about death and love and impermanence and stuff. And I had a rough week because of it. I don't know if Madeline Miller's written other books of the same style. I'm not sure. Jenkins Reid. Okay, so I've searched that. Oh, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo. I actually saw that on recommended on Goodreads. So I will take a look at those. Okay, so maybe I'll start with Evelyn Hugo then. Yes, he's nuzzling my arm. Oh, I sobbed. Oh god. So I just started A Little Life, which I've heard is just the most bleak, miserable book you will ever read. So I don't know how far I'll get in it. So far, I'm on like the first chapter and I like it, but I don't know. I don't know how far I'll get in it. Yeah, I'll see if I'll look into starting like a Veda's book club Goodreads group, so maybe we can recommend books to each other. Make a note to look into doing that, and if I'm able to do it, I can make a post about it on YouTube. Couldn't get through A Little Life. It was a bit too melodramatic for me. Leah, I hope to read 176 books by the end of the year. Oh, that's a lot of books, Dan. You must be a big reader. Leah's goal is 52. That's a lot too. You guys read more than I do. I need to read more and watch less TV, but I like TV too. I actually started watching Cruel Summer recently on Hulu, and I'm really liking it. Tell us what you think of A Little Life. I couldn't get through it. Yeah, I'll let you guys know. I don't know if I'll get through it either. Because I think from what I read in a review, it's supposed to be just miserable to read. Because it just gets like worse and worse and worse for the characters, I guess. And somebody said it. She wrote the book like an ombre cloth, where it just gets darker and darker and darker until the end is all black. So I don't know if I wanted to bring that into my life. Not to overshare, but my dog passed away recently, so I've been kind of dealing with that. He was very old, so it's been expected for quite some time, but it was kind of hard to lose him. So then, after reading Song of Achilles, I was just like, oh my god. And, oh, thank you, Leah. I appreciate that. It's been coming for a long time, so it wasn't anything surprising, but it was very hard. And I've never really had anybody close to me die, so it's just kind of, yeah, it was rough. And then Song of Achilles just was like, oh my god, there's death all around me. Yeah, I don't know. There are murder mysteries that have recipes that you can actually bake in real life. Oh, that sounds awesome. That'd be kind of fun if we did like a book club and bake, or a book club dinner where we all tried to make something from the book and then like had a dinner together for book club. That'd be kind of fun. Might be kind of challenging because everybody's on different time zones. Wouldn't recommend it. You books that are sad in a good way, right? I don't know if A Little Life is the best choice for me right now, but I think if it's like over the top melodramatic sadness, I'm gonna be more like, oh, what the hell, than like sad about it. So might be okay. Leah said she loves baking. That could be really fun. Yeah, I might be able to also like make the video beforehand of baking the item and then eat some of it during the live. If eating sounds don't bother people too much, or maybe I can just like show it and you guys can eat during the live. That'd be fun. But yeah. Okay guys, this was so nice talking to you about the book. I really love the book club because it's such a nice chance to get to talk to people about what we have read. And yeah, if anybody has a book in mind that has, I mean, I guess it wouldn't even have to be like, if food is mentioned in the book, we might be able to do it. Even if it doesn't have a recipe, maybe I could find one on like all recipes and we could all try the same one. That'd be kind of fun. Or even like if we tried variations on it and we could share what we thought. Yeah, I'll see what I can come up with for that. That's a great idea, Kent. And I'll see what I can do to plan like a live stream that's choose your own adventure, because that would be really, really, really fun. So I'll see what I can come up with for that. I think that's going to be much more involved in planning, so I'll see what I can do for July. It might end up being later. Yeah, thank you, Leah, for coming. Really glad you could be here. Really appreciate everybody that was able to join. Good luck on your exam. Oh, that'd be really cool, Kent, if you guys could send me the pictures and I could put them on. Also, I'm on Instagram, so I could share them there if you guys tag me in them or something. That'd be really fun too. But I'm gonna go have some dinner, and I will, in the next couple of days, probably make another post about book club and see what we're gonna do. I think July will be a short hiatus, and then back in August probably with Cersei, but I'll think about it and maybe make a poll. Greetings from across the pond. It was really great. Thank you, Ionis. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but it was really awesome to have you and to hear some of the background on the Greek myths. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, I think not too dark. That's why A Little Life was probably not a good book club choice, so I just started that one on my own. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining, guys. Really appreciate it. Good luck on your exam, Leah. Very nice to see you as usual, Ken. Really, really appreciate seeing you in the book clubs and live streams. And to everybody else who is watching, thank you so much for joining and listening in. I hope that everybody has a great night, and I'll be making a post soon about the stuff that we talked about, and hopefully making a Goodreads group that you all can join and we can share recommendations and stuff. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. As far as videos coming this next week, I'm very hopeful that there will be videos on Monday and Wednesday. I have not had the chance to film yet because this week has been crazy, and I'm dog sitting this weekend, so wish me good luck. But I'm hopeful to have some good stuff for you next week. And I do plan on doing another live stream, hopefully soonish, with a character that you all are very familiar with. So I'll say that. But yeah, thank you so much. Say goodbye, Tyrion. You want to say goodbye? Come here, my love. Oh, come here. Come here. He's still damp from his bath. Goodbye, everybody. You bite it, Mommy. You bite it, Mommy. You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. Oh, that would be fun, Ken. Just a video walking him. Yeah, we'll see. I have 2 videos already planned that I want to do, but that might be a good extra video because it would be very easy to film. I'd want to take him somewhere that's not my neighborhood, though, because people can be super creepy, and you never know if somebody's gonna recognize something and then know where I live. So I'll see you guys soon. Cat hair. Have a great night. Thank you for joining. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.